Hello, this is George Hutton, and you are listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. Today we continue our study of Tung Fu, the art of interconversational reframe. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/tung-fu. Today's first objection is not thin equals not attractive. Use these patterns to combat any ideas that not being thin has any negative impacts on your attractiveness. Pattern 1. Metaframe. There are many things that go into being attractive, and some of them take quite a while to manifest. Pattern 2. Change frame size. Becoming attracted to somebody is highly situational. Pattern 3. Apply to self A to A. That seems like a very thin idea that isn't strong enough to deflect honest criticism. Pattern 4. Apply to self B to B. I can't believe that idea is very attractive. I'll bet the other ideas in your mind are secretly hoping it will leave them alone, but they don't want to be rude. Pattern 5. Reality strategy. How do you know? Is there a scientific relationship between thinness and attraction? It would seem to be impossible since both are highly subjective. Pattern 6. Model of the world. That's an interesting model of the world. I'm glad all the plus-size supermodels haven't heard about it. It might suddenly ruin their careers. Pattern 7. Intent. You're only saying that because you are hoping to avoid rejection, but to find true love, one must experience rejection. Pattern 8. Redefined A not equal to B. Not being thin doesn't mean you aren't attractive. Not being thin means you aren't psychotic about your weight and have a healthy attitude about enjoying life, which many find incredibly attractive. Pattern 9. Redefine B not equal to A. What's not attractive is always being overly worried about how other people perceive you. The most attractive people around are so self-confident they don't care what anybody says. Pattern 10. Counterexample. So you're saying there is zero market for plus-size wedding gowns? Pattern 11. Chunk up. Attraction and health are two extremely complicated issues that fluctuate a lot over one's lifetime. That's the whole reason to find a compatible partner, to share all of life's ups and downs. Pattern 12. Chunk down. How thin is attractive? If your weight goes up by a quarter of a pound, do you go from a 10 on the beauty scale to a 1? Pattern 13. Metaphor. So all the Renaissance painters of girls with curves was some weird phase in history where human nature suddenly stopped working? Pattern 14. Another outcome. Whether or not some people are attracted to thin people isn't really the issue. The issue is that you find somebody that is smart enough to appreciate the whole package and not just the outer presentation. Pattern 15. Consequences. If you really believe that, you'll only end up dating people that only really care about physical attraction, which means they probably aren't smart enough to even carry on a conversation. Pattern 16. Hierarchy of criteria. Well, the more important thing is that you find somebody that is attracted to everything about you, not just what you look like. Pattern 17. Take it to the threshold. If you really believe that, you should probably just stop eating. Hopefully, before you die from malnutrition in the hospital, you'll meet your perfect match. They let you have weddings in the ICU, right? Pattern 18. Reverse presuppositions. How can it be easier to fall in love if you just let yourself go completely and not worry about silly stuff like that? Our next objection will be being a virgin equals bad. Use this to counter any pressure to lose your virginity. Pattern 1. Metaframe. Most things are more valuable the purer they are. Pattern 2. Change frame size. In the short term, maybe, but in the long term, maybe not. Pattern 3. Apply to self A to A. Sounds like your mind has been adulterated with ideas put there by somebody else without your permission. Luckily, you can forget all about them and return your thinking to its natural, virgin state. Pattern 4. Apply to self B to B. That's certainly a bad way to think. Pattern 5. Reality strategy. How do you know? According to whom? According to when? Pattern 6. Model of the world. That's an interesting model of the world. Do you define how much you are worth, or do you let others do that? Pattern 7. Intent. It seems like you are only saying that because you want to be accepted. And the best way to become accepted by others is to first accept yourself completely, just as you are. Pattern 8, redefine A not equal to B. Being a virgin isn't bad. Being a virgin is the most sought-after state there is, pure, original, untainted, full of unlimited potential. Pattern 9, redefine B not equal to A. What's bad is letting other people do your thinking for you, especially in something as irreversible as this. Pattern 10, counterexample. Plenty of people have rushed to rid themselves of virginity and regretted that decision. Pattern 11, chunk up. What really defines good and bad? Certainly not something that can be decided upon so quickly. Pattern 12, chunk down. How specifically is it bad? To whom is it bad? How long will it be considered bad? Are there others who may consider it good? Pattern 13, metaphor. Since the dawn of time, the most important, cherished, and protected members of society were young virgins. Pattern 14, another outcome. Whether or not being a virgin is bad or not isn't really the issue. The real issue is whether you and only you are the one choosing when to make that decision. Pattern 15, consequences. If you continue to think that, you may be pressured into doing things that you later regret, and this can be something you end up regretting the rest of your life. Pattern 16, hierarchy of criteria. The more important thing is you choose your own life, your own decisions, and your own actions for your own reasons, and not let anybody else influence your thinking simply because they stand to gain. Pattern 17, take it to the threshold. If being a virgin is bad, then maybe you better run out and grab the first person you can find and quickly rid yourself of this horrible condition. Pattern 18, reverse presuppositions. How can being a virgin make you much more valuable in many ways? How can the longer you stay a virgin, the more people will appreciate you? I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com. I look forward to speaking with you again.